Okay. I hope I'm there. I hope I'm there. Okay. Before doing everything, as always, I would like to give credit to the owner of the GitHub repo, which we will be using throughout our journey. Yesterday we did the Convert Edges today's project, and today we'll be doing this day two project, Finding Nemo. So basically, Finding Nemo is like, yeah, you are given a string of word. You need to find the word Nemo and return a string like this. I found Nemo at the order of the word you find Nemo. If you can't find Nemo, return I can't find Nemo. So note, exclamation mark, question mark, all these marks are always separated from the last word. Nemo will always look like Nemo and not Nemo or other capital variations. Nemos or anything that says Nemo with something behind it doesn't count as finding Nemo. If there are multiple Nemos in the sentence, only return for the first one. So, let's go on and start doing what we need to do. And that will be having the building block. What will be the building block? What do we need to build this project of ours? What do we need? So the first thing we need is we need to know about functions. Then we'll know about strings and string type. Then uh, we'll know about splitting strings. Then we'll know about loops and enumerate method. Then last we'll know about conditional, which are the uh, logic of the conditional logic. So we have the if, here that's what we'll be using, and then we have string formatting. So these will be our building blocks. We'll go through this before starting to build whatever we'll be building. So let's start with the first one, which is function. So think of function like let's see, a recipe. Yeah, a recipe. So we give the recipe a name, then we'll give it ingredients, and then we'll have let's see, we'll have the food, or yeah, the food. So same as function. Function, we give function a name, then we give it what is called parameter or argument. Then uh, we can have a return value. So with all this, I think we have the basic grasp of what a function is. So let's see how a function is structured and how we can use it. For example, in Rust, we declare a function by writing fn, which is a short form of function fn. Anyway, you see function fn, it means function. Then we have the name as we see it. We need to give the function a name. Let's see, we need this function. We want this function to have the name of say hello. Then this bracket. So inside here, we'll be having the parameters or arguments. Then there is this dash and the greater than sign. Then this dash and greater than sign uh, is the return value. So this would, what do we need this function to return? Is it a text? Is it number? Is it true or false? etc. So let's say hello, and then we need to have the curly braces or curly brackets, and anything within this curly brackets will be what we need this function to do. Let's say whenever we call this function, we need it to uh, print hello world. So, but by so doing, we can't just come here and write say hello and let it print hello world to us. No, that's not what happens. In Rust, there is a special function called the main function. Anything, this is the first thing that a Rust program will check before running it. Anything inside this main function, that's what Rust will run. So let's say we want to print this hello world, then we will call the hello world inside the Rust function. Say hello, then let's save and see. You can see it says hello world. That means we call this function, it will print this hello world to us, but we don't have the return value. So the return value is basically telling us that, specifying to us that this is what I need you, this is what I expect to receive as an output. This hello world is, since it is in a quotation mark, we call it string. Then we can tell us that we expect to receive string. Now let's run and see. It says mismatch types. Exactly. Why? Because its body has no tail or return expression. So what does this mean? It means it does not, as it says, implicitly returns nothing, as its body has no tail or return expression. But let's do something now. Let's say, let's have a function. Let's call the function greet. And in this function, we need a parameter or argument of string. This argument is like an input we'll be giving the function. So this yeah, this parameter we need to give it a string, and the parameter name is name. Then let's do this. Let's say whenever we call this function, it should print hello, but now it won't be hello world, it will be hello, exactly the name that we will impute to the function. So now let's have this greet. Let's say since this we expect to we need to impute a string here. As we all know, string have quotation marks. So then we have this quotation mark, and then insert a name that we want. Let's see, hello, hello super. So and you can see hello super. This is basically what functions are all about. You create a function so you can use it as many times as possible. So let's move on to the next one, which is string types. Yeah, string types and string slice. Yeah, string type and string slice. String, the difference between string like this and then string slice is that string can be mutable, which means it is changeable, while string slice this is not changeable. It is immutable, which means it cannot be added to or changed. For example, let's have our main function. Let's create a variable called s and give it a string slice of hello. Yeah, affirm. A string slice of hello. Now, let's try. There is a method in Rust in which we can add something to this text here. It is called, you call the variable name. Here we have s, and then you write push. Then in brackets, you input what you want to push. Let's see, I want to push exclamation mark. Have a colon, and then let's print ln. Now let's on. Let's see the error it will display. No method named push found for reference string slice and str in the current scope. Method not found. This basically means you can't push to a string slice. That's the long English there. You can't push to a string slice. But uh let's look at string and see. See, string are defined this way. Let mutable, this specify to us that this variable here can be changed, can be added to. Let's mutable s equal to string from hello. Yeah, it's basically wrong, creating a string type. Now, let's try same way push s dot push. Let's say I want to add exclamation mark print s, and let's print this in. You can see it says it added the exclamation mark to hello. So in simple way, I can say string is like owning a document. You own the document, so you can edit it. But string slice, let's say you are reading someone's document. So basically, you can't edit it. Now, I hope I'm audible enough. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to the next one, which is splitting strings. So, to find our word, which is Nemo, Rust have a method called split white space. So this basically breaks string sentence of strings into iterator of string slices, which means it breaks that string into individual objects or word. It will give one item at a time. Okay, let's look at something. These are what, yeah? You want to seek it out? Let's create our function, our main function, since we can't Rust only runs anything inside the main function. Let's create a variable called sentence, and it should be a string slide. Now, let's input some text here. Let's see. My name is AJ. Now, we want this sentence here, to be individual word. Like we can have them, we can loop through them. Now let's see word. Let's create another variable called word, and then let's call this variable here sentence, and then let's have our our splitting method, which is split white space. Then which and this leads us to our next topic, which is called loop. The for loop, to be specific. Loop is all about repeating a block of code for each item in a collection. Let's say we have a list of items. We can loop, as the word implies, we can loop through that list to fetch maybe the middle item or the last item or the first item. That's what loop is all about. Okay, let's create a loop. Let's see for word. Now, this can be changed to anything. For word in these words here that has already split this string into individual word. For word in what, then what do we need it to do? We need it to print the individual word one after the other. So let's see, print ln word is equal to word. Then here we call this word here, because it will display the individual word from the split in this variable. Now let's print it and see. So as you can see, word is equal to my, word is equal to name, word is equal to is, word is equal to a, word is equal to j. So it's remove it fetch the white spaces, which is the spaces here. It fetch the spaces between those words in a variable and then print it out individually by using the for loop. Then, since we are doing project-based learning, the next thing we'll be looking at is a method also called enumerate. This enumerate method is very important in our project, because we are looping the text. Then we need to find a word in a sentence. Let's say we will be finding this name instead of Nemo. Then this enumerate will help us to uh, let me put it this way: to know the position or index of an item. As in programming, index starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But you can't do it. We won't be able to do it manually. Let's say we have a very long line of text. We can't be counting it manually. So after this enumerate, there is another method called iter, iter method, short form for iteration. Each it allows us to traverse the elements of a collection one by one. So, and also when we use the iter method with the enumerator method, it gives us pair of index and item. Although enumerate method do that. Then index, as I said, index is is how we start counting. Index, we start counting from 0 instead of 1. Now, let's see how the two method works. But first, let's start with the iter method. But before that, let's look at something called an array. And an array, as I see, is basically a list of text. It's a collection. It's a collection of text or items, not just text, or items. It can be numbers or items in a single variable container. It allows us to store collection of data in a single container or variable. Now, let's see how, let's create an array called fruit. So we'll create a variable called fruit, but we want this fruit to be an array that will hold collection of fruit name. We identify array by the by the square brackets. Whenever you see the square bracket is an array. So let's start creating our list. Apple, comma, banana, comma, then we have cherry. So let's just have 3 items in our array. Now we want, since we have already talked about loop, we want to loop through this array and use the uh, iter iter method to create an iterator for the array. Now let's have the text before the loop starting its work. Looping through. Now let's create the loop. For loop for fruit, you can name it something else, but let's name it for fruit since singular form of fruit is fruit. Now let's use fruit dot the iter method. Now then print ln I like fruit. Now let's print as in. Okay, you can see I like apple, I like banana, I like cherry. Okay, then now we'll use both the methods, the item method and then the enumerate method to look through the index, which will give us index and then an item name. So here, basically what I'm saying is it will give us the index index number of the item and then the item name beside. That's what I'm talking about. Now let's comment this since we are still using fruit. Now let's create, yeah, let's have the text first. Um, looking with index. Now let's create the for loop, but now we use the brackets since we said we need the index number and then the name of the item here. Then here we use fruit. In this fruit here, it will be here. Uh, then I see we'll use the iter method and then the enumerate method. Now let's print ln fruit at index is index fruit. So here, this first placeholder, it will have the index number of the first item of the item. Then it will have here will have the name of the item, which is from fruit. From fruit here. Yeah. Okay. Now let's print it and see. So print ln. Now let's run. Fruit at index 0 is apple. Fruit at index 1 is banana. Fruit at index 2 is cherry. But what if we want this index 0 to start with 1? Apple to have an index number of 1 when printing. We don't actually have the capacity to have this must as 1, but we can print it to have it as 1. How can we do it? The simplest way, and that's the way, is to add the index number. Add 1 to the index number. Let's say let's add plus 1 here. Now let's create and see. As you can see, we have fruit at index 1 is apple, 2, 3. Now, let's play with it along. Let's have 3 here. Oh, 2. Now, let's run. 2, 3, 4. Started at index 2. Now, and exactly for our project, we'll be using the index 1 since it will start counting from 1, not 0, and then it will give us the exact position of uh, of what you are looking for. So the next thing we'll be looking at is the conditional logic. We'll be looking at conditional logic. The conditional logic basically allows a program to make decision. Like if something is true, then do this. If so 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 is so, then do so. Uh, yeah. You can also add else. Let's say if I will build this, do this. Else do that. Something like that. Then we have string formatting. Now let's go. We have conditional logic and string formatting using there is something called macro in Rust. You see it with exclamation mark at the front. Yeah. format macro. The macro basically uh, are basically code that manipulates other code. Let's look at the above in action. Now, let's say how to create, let's say a target word called Nemo as our name, and let's say current word one is equal to Nemo, and then let current word two be equal to node, and then let position be equal to 3. Okay, now we want to create a conditional logic which is ask if current word is equal to target word. If current word is equal to target word, do this. Else, do this. Let's see it. Let's see it in action. If current word one is equal to target word. Now let's uh, de- de- uh, declare a variable called message, and then it is a string. Then we will use the format macro found at position that. Now let's have the target word and then position. This basically means we'll create a variable called message with the type of string, then it will format that I found uh, target word, which is Nemo, at position, which is position 3. Exactly. Now let's print ln message. Now, since we said we'll be using the else, let's use the else. Else, if you not find if you not find target word in position 3, print target word, current word is not target word. Yeah, current word, target word. So this basically says if current word one is equal to target word is Nemo, if Nemo is equal to Nemo, if Nemo is equal to Nemo, let message create a variable. Now we'll create a variable. We can use the print ln, but let's use the format to the string formatting to know how it works. Print found target word Nemo at position 3, which means target word is at position 3. But if target word is not at position 3, print current word is not target word, which means they are not the same. You understand? Now, let's print it. See. Okay, let me see. Okay, found Nemo at position 3, which means current word is equal to target word. Now, let's see. I use super here. Now, let's print it. See, to say super is not Nemo. They are not the same. Super is super, Nemo is Nemo. Now, let's move on. I think with these building blocks, with these building blocks, I think we'll be able to start building our project, which is finding name. Now, before that, the first step we need to do is to define our function. To define our function, and what? Let's define the function first. What name will we give the function? Let's see. Find Nemo. Will our function contain an argument? Yes, it will need an input. What name? Let's give it the name of sentence and type of string slice. What will we expect as output? It will be string. Now, let's have everything inside our curly braces. Now, since our split white space uh, split, we need to split sentence into what? The sentence here that will be received. We need to split the sentence into what? Then let's create a variable called word, and then let's split sentence dot split white space. Then we will now have a loop that will loop through the word. This word here, it will loop through the word, and then keeping and it will be keeping track of their position. Then uh, the enumerate method will give us the index and word pairs, which index starts at 0, but we want word position to start from 1 for the output message. Now let's create our for loop. It will say for, have it in bracket, since we'll be having the pair index word in this word here. Okay, in word, and then we'll use the enumerate method for the pairs. Now, since index is 0 based, so the first word will start at index 0, not index 1 as we wanted, but we'll tackle it later. Now we need to check if the current word is name. Now that's where we have our conditional logic. Now we create if word is name, then if the word is name, what do we want it to? If it is name, we'll create like a font message. Hey, we found Nemo here. The position is index plus 1 because we want one base indexing. Now, let's create the one base indexing we wanted. Let's position, we'll create a variable name position and then give it index plus 1. This index here, index plus 1. So we are now using the one based indexing we wanted. Then we have the return. We have the return format of, hey, I found Nemo here. Now let's create that. Return. This is basically like print, but more advanced. Return. Sorry. Return format. Hey, I found Nemo at so position. Then it will be like then return immediately exit the function with the value. Hey, I found Nemo at so position. Now, if the loop finishes and we haven't returned, it means Nemo was not found. Then we need to create a not found message. So now we'll create a string which has those two columns from, which it converts a string literal into an owned string. Now let's see how it works. So it will be here. So return, hey, we not found any Nemo. Return string from, I can't find Nemo. Then let's have this. So when we leave this our function like this function like this, it won't work. It's of no use. It is just there. What do we need to do? As I said before, we need to have the main function. So Ross runs the main function. Then inside the main function, we can now call this function here. So now let's create the main function. So what do we need to first do? We need to test our find Nemo function, like with some examples. Let's see. Let okay. Let's say let sentence 1 is equal to I am finding Nemo. Then, and let's have let result 1 is equal to find Nemo in sentence 1. You understand? Yeah, I hope so. So now we will need to print this our input here, and then we print the result here. So let's print ln input here. Okay, print it will, this means it will print our input here in this quotation mark. Then we have sentence 1 since it is our input. Then we have same for the result, which is result 1. Now, let's try to print to see if our function here will be able to find Nemo in this first sentence. Now let's run it. As you can see, yeah, I am finding Nemo. This is our input, and it says output. I found Nemo at 4. I found Nemo at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It found Nemo. So let's add the word here. Two word actually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it will say I found them at what's the position? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's run it. I found them at 6. So it's a rate and count our word after splitting it, and then it will give us the output. So I hope we have done much, and we can actually have some reflection and experimentation. Let's see, since our current could only find name with only capital letter N, can we modify the find nemo function so that it can find nemo with all lowercase letters, capital letters, and then a mix of capital and small letter? Let's say the first letter N is capital letter, then the M is capital letter too. E and O should be lowercase. So, without further ado, thank you very much for your time, and I hope we have found something interesting and something educative enough. Then just try it out, and as it from some mentors, breaking and fixing code is a great way to learn. So, and also, we should never hesitate to ask questions whenever we get stuck or whenever we want to understand something more deeply. So, thank you very much for your time. I hope you all have a very amazing day. Also, let me give credit to the owners of this GitHub repo. I found it very amazing, very interactive, and very nice. So let's meet up tomorrow.